Alright, welcome back everyone for another video. So, I know in my last video, my very last upload video was a topic ideas of videos I want to do in the future on my YouTube channel. So the first thing I want to cover real quick before I go into what today's video is I want to go doing this coming Thursday, do something completely different and do something that I had mentioned in that video for this coming Thursday. And I plan on doing something different every Thursday. I want to try out like one of those ideas per week. So this Thursday, I want to go through my books and pull out my top 5 books I would recommend. I'm going to be organizing my books this weekend, between now and Thursday, based on books I have read and based on books I have not read. And then I'm going to go from the books I have read and recommend you guys the top 5 books I think you guys should read. Now granted, I'm pretty sure I have more books I haven't read at this current moment than books I have read. I did have a lot more books before I moved out of my last apartment to this apartment, and well, I'm working on accumulating more books again, and well, I don't have a lot of books I used to have that I did read. I have more books that I haven't read now, but I do have a couple books that I have read or that I'm currently reading, and I do have some recommendations of what you guys should try reading. So that would be for this Thursday. Next Thursday, I have no idea what I'm planning. I'm not gonna try and plan in between now and Thursday, but now and this next Thursday. But I do want to try a different YouTube video, really topic wise, and do something different every Thursday to make it a little more spontaneous, and just kind of get an idea of what I want to keep on my channel, what works, what doesn't, and go on from there. This coming Saturday, I am going to be hanging out with a friend of mine, and with permission, of course, I'm going to try and record our gaming session. Now, granted, I don't know what kind of game we're going to be playing. I don't know if we're going to be playing on the console or if we're going to be playing a board game. But whichever one it is, I do want to try and record it and make it a little more fun, because it's the one time I actually get to hang out with someone outside of home, especially leaving home. I'm actually going to Vancouver to go hang out with him, and it gives you just a little more fun vibe. But like I said, I'm only gonna record it with his permission, and I gotta talk to him first about it. But anyways, going on to it. So today is Monday Madness Bible studies. So that's when I'm going to be doing Bible studies. I'm aiming, like I said, I'm aiming at Matthew 2 today, and then Genesis 6, I believe. Yes, Genesis 6, which could be possibly done later today, but I will get it done today. Now, I will, at the end of the video, I will show you guys my new Bible cover, because it is just absolutely gorgeous and I love it. Anyways, so the first things I want to point out, or the first thing I want to mention again, and I've mentioned previously in my videos, if you guys have not read the chapter, if you guys have not read Matthew 2, go ahead and pause this video and go ahead and read Matthew 2, and then come back to this video, because like I said, I'm not the best person at reading out loud. Now granted, I am working on it, and there are some chapters I just don't mind reading, but and there's nothing wrong with this chapter. I don't want to read. I'm just like, I haven't slept a lot today yet. I've only slept like 4 hours, so I'm really not fully up into the whole mental space of being able to read a whole entire chapter at the moment. So I'm not going to try right now. Maybe when I get a little more sleep, I might do so. But just because, like I said, just for argument's sake, I've not got a whole lot of sleep. I really don't want to read the whole entire chapter right now, again, out loud at least. So if you guys have not read it, go ahead and take a read of that real quick before. It's just really short. There's only 23 verses in it, and it's pretty short. So go ahead and read that. Come back to this video. Then we'll go into the whole discussion of Matthew 2. If for some reason you guys don't have a Bible, I will link below the Blue Letter Bible. It is a really good online. It is not. I don't think it's an actual app. Excuse me. I use it all the time, especially for commentary. I'd highly recommend it. I could also recommend a couple Bible reading apps that are free, so you can read your Bible online, especially if you have like some kind of phone, tablet, some kind of device you can take with you. I'd recommend some of those. All of my Bible reading apps are on this tablet, so like I said, I can recommend a couple for you guys that will be really easy, that are much easier than carry this around than something like this. But I carry around both because I do like my physical Bible versus this. I mean, granted, I do read this when I'm in the car, like when someone's driving, of course, or I'm doing patrols. I am allowed to carry a tablet around when I do security patrols. I will occasionally read this. But otherwise, I really like to use my physical Bible because, as you can tell, I don't know if I've shown you guys before. Oops, this one. Here. I take a lot of notes. So there's my notes for that. A lot of notes. These are the notes I currently have taken right now. So all of those notes. And that is on Matthew 4. So all of those notes are on Matthew 4. So like I said, I do take a lot of notes, and I prefer just to have my physical Bible with me. But there's nothing saying that there's anything wrong with using a Bible app because there are apps you can take notes on as well. You can highlight and everything else. Like I said, I would recommend a couple of them. I will link those in the description below as well. I just, like I said, I'm kind of personal. I like using both. I like my physical Bible and I like the Bible as well. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into chapter 2. So the idea of chapter 2 is the wise man, the fleeing to Egypt, excuse me, the massacre of the innocents, and then the home in Nazareth. So that is the whole entire premises behind chapter 4, and that's just kind of a real quick rundown of it. The majority of this video is going to be focused on the wise man and all of that. And so the first thing I want to point out is all the songs, the stories, the decorations that people put up of the 3 wise men is incorrect. I don't know where that came from. I don't know how it started, but the Bible does not say anything about 3 wise men. It just says wise men. So here in the very first verse, it says, now after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judah, in the days of Herod the king, behold, the wise men from the east came to Jerusalem. So it just simply says wise men. Okay? And it does not say anything about 3. It doesn't say anything about 5, 10, 15, 20. It doesn't say any of that. Okay, it just says wise men. And I personally get the idea that the wise men that showed up are a crowd. So 10 plus guys. Okay? And I'll explain to you the reason why I think it's 10 plus guys in a minute. So so they're following the star that they found in the east. It's supposed to lead them to the birth site of the newborn king. Okay, and it even says, saying, "Where is he who has come, who has been born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and come to worship him." So the first thing that is explained is that they're following a star, and that was placed in the east, that is supposed to lead them to where Jesus' birth birthsite is, where he is supposed to be, and with his mother, his father, just after being born. And he's, as it said, he's the king of the Jews, and they wanted to go and worship him. Now, alright, my bad. First thing I do want to explain too is Harold is troubled by this. Now, this is where it comes into the fact that the reason why I think it is 10 plus guys. Now, I've heard stories of Harold. I've looked up stories about him and how ruthless and cruel and how much of a terrible guy he is. Okay, and he is terrible. Okay, correct, he is terrible. And he was troubled by the fact that these wise men were coming to him looking for this baby that he had no idea who he was, and these wise men are saying, he is the king of the Jews, we have come to worship him. And they're speaking to a king. Okay, Harold is a king. Okay, they're speaking to a king who is supposed to be the king of the Jews. Okay, so Harold is not a Jew by any means whatsoever, but yet he's considered to be king of the Jews. And the fact that he's hearing that a Jewish born king is born, that kind of troubles him. And these wise men are coming to worship him, which even troubles him even more. So I'm pretty sure Harold is not going to get upset and defensive and be troubled by the fact that 3 wise men on horses are coming to find this baby. Now, an entourage, an army, that would trouble someone. Okay, that would trouble someone completely. But just 3 guys on horsebacks, probably old guys, that's not really going to intimidate someone. But if you have quite a crowd of them, that might actually intimidate someone to the point where they get troubled. So that's kind of why I'm thinking there is, excuse me, that's why I'm getting the idea that there is more than just 3. But again, like I said too, the Bible does not say there's just 3. The Bible just says wise men. So for all we know, there could be 3. For all we know, there might just be 2. But based on my own personal opinion and based kind of my knowledge of how people get intimidated by the people, my first thinking is that they're talking about at least 10 plus people. And it goes on to saying that when Harold the king heard this, he was troubled and all of Jerusalem with him. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard the saying, like, if mama ain't happy, no one happy, happy wife, happy life, that kind of sort of thing. So in this instant, Harold is the mom, happy mother, happy wife, and Jerusalem is the everyone else. So if he's not happy, he's going to make it to where no one else is happy. But if he's happy, everyone else is happy. So the fact that he is troubled by the fact that these wise men are going to look for a unknown Jewish-born baby who's supposed to be king of the Jews, it troubles him. And Jerusalem is under that umbrella as well. Now, here's what BLB says. And BLB is the Blue Letter Bible. I just been abbreviating it because it's a lot easier. BLB says that Harold was cruel and paranoid and I wrote down a couple examples. He killed his wife at one point. I'm not exactly sure why. There's kind of a bunch of different reasons why. They didn't exactly go into that full depths of it. He killed two of his elder sons so they couldn't take the throne. And on his deathbed, he ordered all the chief people to be imprisoned until his death, where they were killed too. He basically wanted to make it to where he knew at that point no one was going to cry for him. No one was going to feel sad for him when he died. But he wanted to make everyone else cry too, so at that point he basically told his right-hand people, or whoever the hell these people are, that all these chief people need to be on death row, and when he dies, they die too. That way everyone else would cry. Everyone was depressed. So that's exactly what he did. He wanted everyone to be miserable on his death day and make it seem like they're sad for him. He was really that cruel. Now, verse 6, where is it? Where it says, "But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are not the least among the rulers of Judah. For out of you shall come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel." Now, I put that one in here, not specifically mainly because I want to talk about it, but because I want to point out one of the very first Old Testament verses that I had found in this. I don't know if you guys remember, if you guys actually watched my Matthew 2 video, but I had mentioned that Matthew points out more than 50, or no less than 50 references and 75 allusions to the Old Testament. He uses a lot of the Old Testament in his thing, and he's basically using that because he's trying to point out that Jesus is here, or was there at the time, to fulfill a lot of what was said in the Old Testament. Now, I wanted to point this one out because this is the very first verse I encountered that led to the Old Testament, and it points out Micah 5:2, and it's talking about the coming of Messiah. Alright, so going on to that, because I just want to point that out. That's the very first verse I found on it. So it goes on to Herod wanting to pretend to go and worship this newborn baby king, but secretly he is wanting to just go and eliminate him, because as he's done before, he doesn't want rivalries. He doesn't like rivalries. He's killed rivalries before. I mean, hence his two sons. He didn't want his two thrones to ascend to the throne, so he killed them. So he's basically telling these wise men, go and find this baby. When you do find him, come back, let me know where he is so I can go and worship him too. But secretly, with one hand behind his back, he's basically plotting to kill the baby. So by the time the wise men actually do show up to see Jesus, now this is the other reason why I wanted to really focus on the wise men, is because a lot of people believe that when the wise men showed up, Jesus is still a baby, Jesus was still in the manger, he was still in a barn. Okay, that is not the case. Especially with those little statue things they put up during Christmas time. They always put up with Jesus with Mary in the baby in the manger, and then three wise men right next by. But that is not the case. By the time those wise men show up, Jesus is no longer a baby, he's a child, and they're no longer in a manger, they're in a house. Okay, so here's this. Okay, so it says here, and when they came into the house, they saw the young child with his mother, with Mary, his mother. So he's not a baby anymore. I would guess. Well, it doesn't really say either. I would guess like maybe 2, 3 years old, maybe 4. I mean, heck, he can be older than that too. And as of course, too, he's not in a manger anymore. He's in a house of their own. But when they found him, like I said, when they found him, they fell down and they started worshiping him. That was the first thing they did. Okay, they gave their hearts to him as the very first technical gift. I mean, it's not an official gift, but it is the gift that God and Jesus values the most. Giving your heart to him, to them, the Trinity, and then followed up by the 3 gifts that they brought for him. So I wanted to point this out because, as I said, we're not here. I very nicely wrote this out. So this is an important example to Christians. We often talk about our responsibility to give time, talent, and treasure. But before any of that, we have to give ourselves our hearts, so that so all of those things are simply an outflow of our worship to the Lord. I took some time writing that out. I'm very proud of it, actually. Okay, anyway. But yes, so the point is that anything outflowing of anything else outside of giving our heart is just basically an extra, basically. God only really just wants our heart. He just wants our love. He just wants us to be devoted to Him. And anything else after that is extra. He's not asking us to give Him gold. He's not asking us to give Him the rest of the stuff, the frankincense, myrrh. He's not asking for that. He's not even asking for our lives. I mean, our lives are already His, but He's not asking for it. He's asking us to willingly give our hearts to Him, which in turn we give our lives to Him. So the first gift is gold. Now that one is probably the most important one in my opinion, at least for this chapter, mainly because it is considered to be the most precious gem or material at that time. Okay, when you go before a king, especially like for Herod, you would present the gift of gold, something gold, a gold bracelet, a gold little tiara, I don't know, those little dingy thingies that you put on your arm, bangle, I don't know what the hell those things are called. Gold. You present a king with gold. And obviously, as they're pointing out, they're presenting Jesus with gold. They're outright portraying the fact that He is the King of the Jews. He is the coming Messiah that everyone has been waiting for. And this is their gift to Him, presenting a king with gold. The other two gifts were for future purposes. I'm not exactly sure why with one of them. I haven't fully found a whole entire information on that one. It's kind of sketchy. But the myrrh is used when Jesus is killed and He was buried. Okay, so okay, so I do know it is used when here, let me just read it. It's used to anoint dead bodies. That is what I found out. I literally had to do research on that because I didn't know what the other two were for. I just knew they were used for something in the future. I didn't know exactly what. But yes, the myrrh is used for dead bodies. It is used to kind of anoint them in a sense. I don't know how to explain it. It's you're anointing the body. So it is used in the future for Jesus after His death. The frankincense, I'm still doing a lot of research on that one. I can't really find a whole lot of information on it or what it's for. Anyway, but I'll come back to that if I find some more information on that one. Or if you guys know information on that, let me know in the link below. Okay, so after they gave their gifts to Him and after they worshipped Him, it goes to say that they were divinely warned in ancient Rome. So another angel came to them and they warned him not to go back the way of Herod for a specific reason. They said that they should not return to Herod. They departed for their own country another way. So they were told deliberately not to go back the way to Herod. Do not tell him where the baby is. But they weren't exactly, they may or may not have been told why. It doesn't exactly say. But it's because obvious. Herod was pretending to want to see the child. He's pretending to want to go and worship him. His whole intention was, like I said, see my right hand, don't see my left hand, kind of thing. He had intention to go and kill the baby because he didn't want rival. I mean, like I said, that's what he did with his two sons. I'm pretty sure he did with other people. He doesn't like rivals. He didn't want another king of the Jews, and the actual Jews following him over him. So, after they left, another angel came to Joseph, and he basically told him that he needed to get up, take his family, and go to Egypt because Herod was going to try and kill Jesus. So, this is where the gold comes in, I believe. Okay? Going from Jerusalem to Egypt is quite a trip, especially with the fact that they have their own home and they're having to literally leave everything behind and leave on a dime. Okay? So more than likely that gold funded their whole entire trip from one point to point A, and however long it took for them to stay there and then return home. And we don't know how long it took for them to stay there. But from childhood, from ground zero, basically, Jesus was rejected, and he then became, in other words, a fugitive of Herod. And Herod didn't like that. So Herod, in other words, for the most part, he threw a temper tantrum. He threw a huge temper tantrum, and, well, he took it out on everyone else. He took it out on all of Jerusalem. So, by his temper tantrum, and in his whole entire crazy freaking state, he ordered all male children in Bethlehem up to 2 years old to be killed, because that's what age he thought the baby was going to be. So I wanted to know how many babies were actually killed. So Bethlehem had a few hundred or a few thousand. So I'm going to do based on a few hundred and a few thousand. So roughly 16.7 were killed, if it was a few hundred. But the birth rate was kind of high back then, a lot more than it is now. And you had more kids than you did elderlies and sick people and whatnot. So if you increase that number based off the Anthony, you would have about 33 innocents, 33 babies. So anywhere between 16 and 33, maybe even a little more than that, innocent boys and babies were killed. Now, verse 18, it says, "A voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation, weeping, and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, refusing to be comforted because they are no more." Now, this is the second reference to the Old Testament. It was spoken by Jeremiah in Genesis 29:14-30. And it's about Rachel, who loved Jacob the most. Who Jacob loved the most. Rachel was the one he really loved. And Ramah was a town outside of Jerusalem, given to Benjamin, Rachel's second son with Jacob. So if you guys want to go into that whole entire story, I would suggest, like I said, reading Genesis 29:14-30, and you guys will get the whole entire story of Rachel and her kids and all of that. So go ahead and read that. I briefly looked over it, but I didn't want to go into too much of it because, like I said, I'm currently already working on Genesis, and I want to work my way up to that. So Herod ruled Israel from 37 BC to 4 BC, and then after his death, an angel came to Joseph again, telling him that Herod was dead and they can return to Israel. But that is not the end of it, unfortunately. So Archelaus, I think that's how you say it, Archelaus was given reign over Judah, and that was one of, I believe that was one of Herod's son. Yes. Archelaus was one of Herod's sons, and he was given reign over Judea. But he wasn't any better than his father. He was actually, some people say he was worse than his father. So he was warned, Joseph was warned again, not to go directly through whichever, I can't remember exactly. He was told to veer off and go through Galilee, and they dwelt in a city called Nazareth. So that is that fulfills a unrecorded prophecy. Okay, so we know it's a prophecy. We just don't know if it's there's no mention of Nazareth anywhere in the Bible. I've looked. Okay, on one of these apps and on Blue Letter Bible, if you actually go to the actual Bible part and stuff, you can type in certain keywords, and Nazareth, with the exception of right here, it is not mentioned anywhere in the Old Testament at all. So it is either from the point where Herod was talking to his clergies and his officials trying to figure out when the baby's born, up until this point, somewhere between there could have been a prophecy, but either way, it is an unrecorded prophecy. It is not technically, it's a prophecy, but it's not technically a prophecy at the same time. I'm not sure if that makes any sense, but it's unrecorded. Okay, so it's basically saying that, it's not saying that it's not saying that Jesus' name is called Nazarene or Nazareth or anything. It's basically saying that he becomes a Nazarene because he's dwelling in the city of Nazareth, and Nazareth becomes his home. Yes. Yeah, so Joseph and his family dwelt in Galilee, and in a city named Nazareth. And that is, like I said, because he's in the city of Nazareth, that is kind of gets the idea of, oh hey, Nazareth, you're a Nazarene. It doesn't mean that's his name. It's just basically like, I live in Portland. I'm a Portlander. My name's not Portlander, I'm in Portland. That kind of sort of thing. That kind of gives you guys an idea of what I'm trying to say. But yes, that is an undocumented prophecy. That is, it goes further into the actual into Matthew as well. It's mentioned a little later, actually currently in verse 4, I think it is. But yes, and that is Matthew 2. I will do Matthew 3 and probably 4 next week, because Matthew 3 is short, unless I just want to record. Unless I might just read all of Matthew 3 and then do my study and just do one whole video to Matthew 3. But we'll see. Like I said, later on today I am going to do Genesis 6, and then that'll be my Bible study for this week. And then I'll have Thursday video and then a Saturday video. I might even just go live on Saturday instead if I get the okay from him. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this study. I hope this helped you guys out a little bit. And yeah, like I said. Oh, that's the last thing I wanted to do. I wanted to show you guys my new Bible cover. I got this from a local Bible store right down the way from here, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. But yeah, so this is what it is. Gorgeous gold lettering, absolutely beautiful work here. It says, if I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength. Philippians 4:13. And then it even has it written out here. It says Philippians and then 4:13. I'm not sure if this is 100% leather. I don't think so, but it's got a little pocket right there. Oops. It's got pockets right here. This is from Christian Art Gifts. So I will try and take a look and see if I can find a link to that. And if you guys want to buy one, go ahead and do so. But this is gorgeous. Pen, you go there. So like I said, yes. So it has 2 places you can put pens. So you get pen right there, and it is absolutely just overall gorgeous. So yes, if you guys are looking for a Bible cover, I will try and find a link to this. I know they have one, I just never looked it up, and I will post that into the description below as well. So I will have a couple things for you guys in the below, and yeah, this is gorgeous. And they do have it in multicolors, okay? It's not just pink. I can guarantee you. You guys can get it in blue. You guys can get it black, whatever color you guys want. Just saying. All right, so I will talk to you guys in the next video, and I hope you guys have a good week. It is a Monday, and I'm really hoping it gets better from here and not just be a crappy week. All right, you guys enjoy yourselves, and later, guys.